While portfolios are very important when applying to game development jobs, your resume is still the main requirement when you apply to different studios throughout the world. However, there are some things that you should consider doing while customizing your resume for a game developer position. So that is why in today's video, I'm going to talk about some things you can do with your resume in order to get a better chance of getting hired. The first tip is to include your portfolio link. You need to add that to your resume after your name and contact info. Always make sure to double check they are correct. As I mentioned in previous videos, a portfolio is the most important part of a game designer's application. Having one allows recruiters of companies to see your work and in some cases be able to experience the game you design. When creating the webpage for your portfolio, make sure it has a clean and organized layout, that you're careful with spelling and grammar for it to look and sound professional. This is key if you want to be taken seriously. The second tip is to provide a summary of who you are and what value you can provide to employers. For example, if you're a game designer who wants to create levels for a game, you will write something like, I have the ability to create gameplay spaces that allow for the player to feel engaged with the game. I will recommend for you to adjust these few sentences to cater to different positions each time you send your resume. Depending on the job you're applying to, you want your resume to feel more personal and for them to see you dedicated extra time on that specific employer's application. For example, if you're applying for a systems design position at a studio, you should include more information about what you can offer as a system designer. If the role is for a UI designer, you want to showcase your UX expertise. The third tip is that when you write about your past experience or other positions you have had, it is very important for you to put between 2 to 3 bullet points describing specific actions or accomplishments you achieved. For example, if you have experience as a game designer somewhere, you need to provide additional info on what features you worked on, what were you in charge of, and maybe the results of that project. This allows for the recruiters to see the highlights or main accomplishments you had when you held that position, and will be able to evaluate you with a better sense of who you are as a designer. If you don't have the direct experience the position is requiring, don't panic. You can tailor your current experience by using keywords in the job post and include them in your resume. For example, maybe you don't have game design experience, but you have experience in software and project management. Those skills are helpful to include when you're applying for a job that requires working with interdisciplinary teams. The fourth tip is to create an accomplishment section. In this section, you can write up accomplishments from your game design career as well as other achievements in other areas in your life. Some examples of things you can put in this section are awards you have won or have been nominated for, scholarships that have been awarded to you, leadership roles that you have had, or even participation in events like game jams or game conventions, projects, etc. The fifth tip is to inject some personality into your resume. It is important that as creators of games and essentially as artists, we put some of our personality in our resume for it to stand out. It can be simple things like changing the color of the font, changing the type of font, avoid Comic Sans, everyone seems to hate it because they consider it unprofessional, or even trying new and fun innovative ways of presenting the information. However, keep in mind that the point of a resume is for a recruiter to be able to easily read your information, and if your resume design doesn't do that, then it's going to hurt your chances of getting the job. Keep in mind that while these tips are good, they are not universal. Some people might prefer to do one-page resumes, others might want to not include any non-game design related experience. However, this has worked for me, so I wanted to share it. After years of struggling to find a job, as soon as I implemented some of these changes, a lot more interviews came my way, and I don't think it was sheer luck. So make sure to try different things with your resume. Always cater it to the position you're applying to so that it feels personal. Include some bullet points for your main accomplishments while you had that position or experience. Include a summary of yourself and who you are as a designer. And finally, the most important part, include your link to your portfolio, as that is usually the first thing that people read. If you do these 5 things, I think you will be able to get a lot more luck when applying to game industry jobs. Just have some patience and you will eventually get there. And that's it, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. What do you struggle with the most when you're creating your resume to apply to game design jobs? Please let me know in the comment section below. Also, if you like this video, please hit the like button and share it with your friends. See you next time!